Beautiful humans, welcome back to the I Like Birds podcast. I'm your host, Zach Rippey, and this podcast is dedicated to the non-believers, the confused believers, and the true believers. Because I, at one time or another, was all three. So I'm here to help you get a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he's all about. I'd love to grow in our faith together. You learn as I learn. I like the Bible, and I like words, so therefore, I like birds. Let's start the show.
People, are you ready? Let's start the show. Start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the I Like Birds podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here on your weekly lives and just always tuning back and just trying to find your way back to this podcast. It means the world to me. Even if you don't listen to every episode and you only listen to ones that kind of catch your eye, just know I rock with you and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, man. It keeps me going. So thank you so much for being here. Share the show with a friend if you get the time, if it really touches your heart. This one I feel like is going to really just rock some boots because, man, it's about the greatest thing in the world, which is love. And I'll be honest with you, man, the first time I heard about Corinthians 13 was when I was a teenager watching the movie Wedding Crashers, right? Let that sink in. Isn't that sad? That's the first time I heard about Corinthians 13. And it was in the scene where Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, they're at the wedding, and they bet on what verse the pastor is going to use to marry the couple, because they've been to their share of weddings. They know exactly kind of what is the typical standard of marrying somebody and what scripture is being used. So Owen Wilson bet Corinthians, and Vince Vaughn lost the money, and I just remember that scene so vividly in my head because that was the first time I was exposed to Corinthians, right? And then as I got older, I started going to like weddings. So my friends were getting married. I got married. And then more friends got married. And then next thing you know, it's like I kept hearing it over and over again. And the reason is, dude, and the reason that people all over America know it is not just because of weddings. It's because, dang, it's heavy. It's deep. It's heart-wrenching. It's everything, man. It captures everything inside you that makes you question the way you love people, man. I highly recommend it. It is literally 13 sentences. That's kind of ironic. Corinthians 13 sentences. 13 sentences, y'all. 13, that's it. Like, go read it. Go read it by yourself. Read it slowly. It is so good. Pause the episode. Read it. Come back in. Or just listen to this and then read it on your own, see what you pull from it. Because, man, it just captures everything inside you, man. It makes you question the way you love your kids, the way you love your wife. It unpacks the definition of love in the most beautiful way, a way where you can just kind of understand what real love is and maximum love is, right? Because there's a difference. Maximum love is what Jesus is and represents. And the way that Paul describes love is in the most beautiful way. So love is the greatest, and I read for you Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 2. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but I didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and I had such faith that I could move mountains, but I didn't love others, it would be nothing. Dude, how heavy is that? Prophecy, if you don't know, is just kind of being able to see what's in the future because God puts these visions on you. And it sounds kind of crazy, but because it is. It's God. God sometimes seems kind of crazy, but that's how powerful it is. It's crazy because it's so dope. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's so dope that, but anyway, like, how heavy is that, right? How important is love compared to all those amazing things that he just mentioned? All those godly things would be useless if he could speak all the languages of the world and with like of angels. It would just be, if he didn't love others, it would just be nonsense. If he had the gift of prophecy and if he understood all of God's secret plans, so if he could foretell the future and he possessed all knowledge and had such faith that he could actually move mountains, but if he didn't love others, it would be for nothing. Like, all those godly things would be useless without love tied along to it. All of what God does is with love because that's all Jesus did when he was here. And Jesus is just God in flesh and blood. So when you entertain the idea of why would God do this and let COVID happen? Why would God do this in my life? Guys, don't ever entertain that idea. That's the worldly idea. That's the worldly question. When people that don't believe in God, they say stuff like that. Why would God, if God is so good, why would he create COVID? Why are you questioning God, my guy? Why are you questioning God? Guy that works at Office Depot and has a Facebook? Not even for a second. Don't ever entertain that idea, not even for a second, because who are we to question what God is doing in the middle of this season? We aren't even on the other side yet. We're not on the other side. We don't know what God is doing right now. He may be moving, ? No, he is moving the world around a little bit. You can just tell he's moving the world around, right? He's making people see for the first time in a very long time. Look at your boy. You think I'm the only one that's doing this right now? You think I'm the only one that's seeing God for the first time? I promise you this. If I dropped this podcast before COVID ever happened, nobody would ever listen. And that's not the case today, though. Why? Because God is moving in your hearts more than he has ever has. So how dare we question God? Or challenge God's goodness? How dare we ask that question in our minds? Even, we're all human. We maybe have asked that question. Why did God let COVID happen? Why did God let the racism happen from the cop? Like, why are we so divided? Why is God letting this happen? That's not God. That's man. Man's making that happen. I'm getting a little weird, but here we go. All right, Paul continues. 13:3. I love it. I love this. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Wow. So you can be the helper of helpers and put your money where your mouth is every time. You can get all the love from people and you can boast about it amongst your friends, amongst your family, amongst total strangers when you meet them and you tell them what you do. Oh, I do this. I help the poor. You could boast about it. But if you didn't do it with love attached, it's worth nothing. Because Paul says, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. And here's a beautiful example of that. Man, I've been waiting to talk about this for a while, and I'm so excited that this episode, that this all came together the way it did in my mind and my heart when I was reading this. Because, this verse spoke to me so powerfully because, man, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, Cheryl and Gary Sargent, they started a nonprofit in Uganda, Africa. Listen, this is dope. Not only a nonprofit, but they dumped so much of their own money into it that to the point that my father-in-law delayed retirement going on 6 years now. He sacrificed years of his life. Years. Zeros on zeros of his money. He has a small oil business that is successful, right? It was successful. It isn't. It is. It doesn't even matter. He's not some tycoon or mogul. He's just a man who loved the Lord and loved his wife and loved her heart for these people in Uganda, Africa. They, as Paul says, gave everything that they could to the poor and even sacrificed their bodies, their time, their kids' time, their lives for the love of people. People who needed help. Kids that needed help. Kids that needed help. Widows that needed help. They literally have helped people's broken bones being repaired. And man, what they do and they have done for people, I promise you it makes me tear up. It makes me tear up. They started a school, guys. They educate. They empower. They started a place for other people to learn, grow, and see who Jesus is. Not only people, y'all, when I'm talking to you, not only people. People who are forgotten in America. People who are dropping like flies with flies around them. People who are dropping like flies with flies in their food. The food that they do have. People who carry water on their head. Kids that carry water on their head for miles for their families. Kids. Kids that carry their little siblings on their back because they have to for miles. And I haven't even been, and I want to go. I want to go so bad. I haven't been, but I do something that I don't know if anybody else in my family that's not related to them do. I pay attention to the sound of my mother-in-law's voice when she talks about it. I see the perspective that my wife has after being there for 4 years. I see why my wife has Africa on her heart. She has Africa stuff in her house. She just has a piece of Africa with her because she's been there like 4 or 5 times now. She loves on them. She doesn't go for an Instagram picture. She goes because she loves them. She loves to help people. She loves Jesus. And I see why my wife already knows Jesus more than me because, dude, she just loves people, man. My in-laws, they love people. They inspire me, man. They inspire me in a way where I kind of understand like what love is for other people, you know. And I don't think what they do is my way per se, but maybe it is, you know. Maybe it is one day. Like right now, I feel like my way is through words and through communication and through writings and readings and just reaching people, and like their way is through serving people. And they were blessed with money and they used their blessings to bless other people. Right. And I'm blessed with the opportunity to communicate well and write well and pull from the Bible well. So it's like, that's my gift. So I'm giving my gift right now. So, and let me not get off topic, but I want to go to Africa, man. I need to go. No one needs to go. We all need to go somewhere, man. Go once. Go once. Go love on somebody once that you don't know, man. See what happens. Go somewhere and serve people. And I need to, man. And that's happening as soon as the opportunity presents itself, man. All right. Whew, got me fired up and feeling good. All right, Paul continues on love, right? In 13:4/5, he says, as you guys have probably heard this one before, love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. Ooh, listen to that one. It does not demand its own way. It's not irritable. Ooh, listen to that one again. It keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. All right, when it said it does not demand its own way, man, one thing I struggle with is I get so, as Paul says, I get so irritable with my kids when they do something I don't like. I even get irritable with my wife when my kids do something that is not my way of love. Like my son Malachi, he's almost 1, and he's sweet, he's funny, he's goofy, he's like the best, but he's also loud and expressive sometimes and just very passionate about what he wants. And because that's not my way, I respond to him poorly, unlovingly. I say comments like, why are you always so loud? Stop crying. Stop fussing so much. Can you just be quiet? Like, why are you so loud? Dude, stop screaming. Stop. Chill. We're good. Nothing's wrong. You're okay. And it's like, is he okay? Who knows? He's a baby. He can't talk. He can't tell me what's wrong. But instead, he's not responding my way, and I treat him poorly. I don't treat him lovingly for that. So I need to work on that. And instead of just loving him, I just expect him to just be what I want. And I'll be honest, that's not what love is. And I don't love well all the time. And this podcast, maybe you may think that I'm here to tell you that I'm living this great way. And no, I'm trying to. I'm still failing, and I'm still identifying. And that's the part of being on the way in the path and following of Jesus, man. But I will tell you this. I love him better after I get in my Bible, though. If I read in the morning, I'm telling you, I treat him better. If I read at night, the next day, I treat him better. Because I love better when I'm thinking about Jesus. I love better the next day after I read about Jesus the night before. Man, just Jesus. That's all you got to say when describing your faith or religion, right? Man, just Jesus. Because you can say it in like 3 amazing ways. You can be like, man, just Jesus. Or, man, just Jesus, just Jesus, just Jesus. Or you can be like, man, just Jesus. That's all I rock with. And he is, whoa. I'm just thinking about him. I think about the love for Jesus. And you think about him, you learn how to love others. And that's kind of like the way of the Bible. And I have the next episode that's coming out on Tuesday, the next week, it's going to be fire. It's all about how dope Jesus really is, and like how he died on the cross in like a very vivid way, the way they don't really tell us at church. And I really think you should be here for it. I talk about so much as far as heaven and what him going into heaven after he resurrected really means. It's not just proof that he is the Son of God. It means so much more. So be on the lookout for that Tuesday episode. But let's get back to this right quick. I'm just excited about that one too. So, but you can't just drop them all at the same day. I mean, you can, but at the same time, it's like give people a chance to listen. So here we go. All right, chapter 13, as we've been in, we're going to be in there this whole time. So I'm just going to say 6 from now on. All right, we're in 6 where it says, "It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out." Man, if that didn't make you think about the world we're living in right now. Wow. And what is going on with the justice and the injustice, from the poor judgments and the decisions of those police officers, the unfairness of businesses being destroyed, small businesses, black-owned businesses, after they were already struggling through COVID, to the injustice of jobs being taken away from people, the layoffs, the firings, the cutbacks, the furloughs, the injustice of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, and the media running lies constantly and not speaking the truth or even seeking the truth. Wow, Paul again, you blew my mind. Thank you, Paul. God, you sent us Paul to be here for thousands of years because he is right. God, you sent us Paul, you sent us Jesus. You blow my mind. I will read it again because, whoa, love does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Why in our culture are we afraid of truth? Have you noticed that? You can't say anything that you actually feel anymore. You can't do something and make a mistake and just say, yeah, I made a mistake. You have to get canceled cultured. Oh, dude. Please, the people that listen, please, please, please identify what is going on right now. And realize that Jesus is the way to live, not the worldly way. The worldly way is whack, bruh. All right, verse 7. "Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." Every circumstance. Every circumstance in your life, love Jesus, dude. You lost your job? Okay. Love Jesus and go find another one. You and your girl having problems? You and your wife having problems? Love Jesus and make it right. Don't lose faith. Losing faith is not what love is. Every season can't be great. Always be hopeful. Always love Jesus through any circumstance, because he loved you and he loved you first through every circumstances and wrong you've done. So why would you not show him that same amazing grace and even a higher love? Like he loved you through all the nonsense you did in your past, the things in your heart that you know you did wrong, the things in your heart that you know you did wrong, where you're like, dang, I did that person wrong. Dang, I stole money from that job. Dang, I shook that pizza when I delivered it to the guy that didn't tip good. Dang, I dropped his 2-liter when I got out the car on purpose. He forgives you for that, and he still loves you just as much, if not more. So love Jesus, man, through all circumstances. Love your wife through all circumstances, bro. All right, 8 through 10. "Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the picture. But when the time of perfection comes, those partial things will become useless." Oh my gosh. Does that, I know I'm reading it, so it's hard to pay attention to, but once you read it yourself, I'm telling you, it speaks to you so deeply, because Paul basically just told us here in verse 9. He said again, I'll read it to you again. He said, now our knowledge is right now, in this moment, following Jesus for as many years as you following in the last few weeks, in the last month, in the last year, whatever the case may be for you listening. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything. He's telling us, man, that even if you are a prophet, which means you see the future, there is so much you don't know and you don't understand about how beautiful, how big, and how loving God really is. But he even tells you, it's so dope, he tells you one day we will know. We will know. We will understand. Once we get to eternal life, we will be all knowing. You guys realize that? All this, I don't know, I'm confused, I don't understand. How is this? All these weird questions, all these human questions. One day we will be all knowing and we will be home with Jesus, home with eternal love, the most deepest love you could ever imagine. And dude, I'm so hype, right? I can't wait. Can't wait to get to heaven. But I can't wait because I got more work to do. I got more life to live. I got more love to give. I got to be there for my kids. I got to be a grandpa one day. I got to live on land. I got to write books. I got to go outside and just chill in my hammock and just stare at the sky for a little bit. I got to have my own little spot as far as either church or somehow maybe I Like Birds just expands and blows up. I need to have I need to do a lot more things for God while I'm here. But also, your boy can't wait, all right? Because I want to be all-knowing. I think that's like the most exciting part about all of this in my eyes because I'm a nerd. When I was a child, this is verse 11. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Are you putting away childish things? Or are you still keeping them? Verse 12. Now we see things imperfectly like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But then we will see everything in perfect clarity. Ooh, I've been praying for clarity my entire life. All that I know now is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything and completely just as God now knows me completely. So heavy, so mind-boggling. And this is truth. This is where it all makes sense. The reason he created us was because he loves us. He wants us to love him. He wanted a relationship like we do, and the whole Bible comes down to love. And then he concludes, my man Paul, he concludes, 3 things that will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And he even says the greatest of these is love. That's it. I hope you guys felt that. I hope you felt what I felt when I read it. I hope it hits you. I hope it makes you think. I hope it makes you realize how much God does love us and how loving him is a mutual thing, you know? And man, I just tell you that I'm rambling off the cuff right now because I'm closing up the pod, but man, this is just everything to me, and I just love you guys for listening, and I want y'all to love the Lord as much as I am right now, if not more. Please, on your own walk, in your own journey, your own relationship, just I just want to see more Jesus like in y'all's lives. So please read that on your own time. It's 13 verses. Just read it on your own. And I said this to a friend the other day that really kind of hit me. I don't know if it hit him. I told him he was having a hard time understanding John because I told him John is where I started. He was asking me for advice on where to start in the Bible because he was interested. He's interested in investigating faith, which is like, he's my best friend too. So it's like the biggest honor in the world to hear him say that and him actually read John. And he's liking it. He's having a little bit of a hard time understanding. And he's a reader, you know, so I had to tell him something that I like realized while reading the other day. Like, don't read the Bible fast. Read it slow. Read it so slow. Read the same sentence 3 or 4 times. Seriously, read it 3 or 4 times. Make sure your mind is in it, because I'm one of those people that I'll read and I'll think about something while I'm reading, and then I lose focus and I don't really process what I'm reading, and then I just speed ahead, you know. So I don't do that with the Bible. I read it slow, methodical. I'm studying it. Like, I'm trying to remember this. I'm trying to know it. I'm trying to live it. So I encourage you, when you read slow. And also, if you would like more information on the Subi project and what my mother-in-law and father-in-law are doing in Uganda, Africa, and how you can help sponsor a child or even make a donation of any kind, please look at the episode notes. Hit me up anytime. I'd love to help you out as far as how that goes. It's super simple. I mean, it's a link that you follow. You find out more information and you donate. And then if you want to sponsor a kid, I'll be straight up. It's $30 a month. $30 a month, bro. You spend more than that at QT on coffee and a pretzel every week. I don't know if that's what you're doing, but I just wanted to throw in QT. Here's a joke for you guys. I told my wife if she was a gas station, she'd be a QT. QT, get it? She's a cutie. But yeah, man, seriously. The Subi Project, man, they're doing some amazing things. I'm always just so curious. I can talk to my mother-in-law and father-in-law about that for hours. I wish we had more time. They have like 9, 10 kids or something like that. So every time I talk to them, I'm always trying to get an extra word in and a question in to just learn from them, because, man, they really know who Jesus is, and they've been like being a big reflection of that for many years in front of my eyes, and it's just been so special. And please, man, just look at the episode notes, see if you can donate some money, man. Money goes so far over there too, man. Like American money, like, wow, it goes so far over there. So yeah, man, I don't ask you to give any money to the podcast ever, but if you ever want to give any money and help support I Like Birds and just support like the movement of Jesus, check out the Subi Project. Go to the episode notes. It'll all be there. Share the show with a friend if you really enjoyed it. I think this is one of the best episodes because it has to do with love, eternal life. It has so much, like, it's deep, man. It really is deep. So love God, man. Enjoy your week. Please come back on Tuesday. There'll be another episode about how dope Jesus is, man. You're not going to want to miss that one. So I'll see y'all Tuesday. I appreciate y'all. This is the I Like Birds podcast.